Perfect. I think we can get started now. So, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to have everyone join our first webinar with our friends at Gorgeous and Attentive. My name is Jose Herrera. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hire Horatio. We are a tech-enabled customer experience outsourcing firm based in New York and the Dominican Republic. We build dedicated teams for some of the fastest growing e-commerce and direct-to-consumer brands out there. And it's my pleasure to have Nicole and Eric join us today as we all prepare for the holiday season. The conversation that we're about to have today is very important because it's all about how to leverage omnichannel support and SMS as a tool to attack and handle the most important and crucial season of the year. A little bit about our services before I pass it over to Nicole. We provide the full omnichannel suite of customer support. That includes chat, SMS, voice, email, and social. We integrate the latest tools and technologies to make sure that our agents are optimizing the way that they handle these communications with our customers. And we obviously leverage Gorgeous and Attentive as some of the tools that we incorporate in our tech stack. We also provide back office support functions. So because our model is purely dedicated, we are proud to provide dedicated teams that are proud to represent your brand values and voice. And that allows us to become a true expert in your brand and handle other tasks that you would normally not delegate to your customer experience team. Some of the benefits of working with us, obviously, we provide very quick onboarding. We are true e-commerce experts. So we know how to build an amazing customer experience for most brands and most industries. E-commerce is our bread and butter. And the way that we work is typically we build out customized customer experience playbooks for all of the brands that we work with to understand your brand voice, how you want us to communicate with your customers, what really matters to you, and also leverage technology, as I mentioned, to make sure that we're constantly providing you with the feedback that you need. We're big fans on providing feedback and understanding the data that we receive from Gorgeous, for example, to easily adapt to new processes and policies and constantly give your customers the best experience overall. So that's a little bit about us. Right now, we currently work with about 90 to 95 different brands across e-commerce. We also work with some marketplace companies, and we're also providing support for some emerging fintech and health tech companies as well. So if you have any other questions about our services, I'm happy to schedule a call after this webinar. But for now, let's pass it over to Nicole to talk a little bit about how we can leverage Gorgeous as a tool to prepare for the holiday season.
Thanks, Jose. Thank you for having me. Super excited to chat with you guys about a very important topic. My name's Nicole, and I'm a senior partner manager at Gorgeous. I manage the whole East Coast. I work closely with the Hire Horatio team as well as Attentive. And I'm going to be talking about 4 tips to provide exceptional customer support during your Black Friday, Cyber Monday period to drive sales, and also how to get them prepared and aligned so that you can get the most out of your customer service team. So for those of you that don't know, Gorgeous is an e-commerce help desk. We aggregate all your support in one place. So email, chat, Facebook, phone, Instagram. We have over 10,000 D2C brands, Steve Madden being one of our biggest ones. Netflix is another, and Princess Polly, which I think are some staple names that you might recognize. And we have a discount running that we can talk about at the end of this, but definitely hit me up. We'll be giving everyone from the event who's tuning in a discount. And my email is nicole@gorgeous.com, the one and only. So it's pretty easy to remember if you have questions. So I definitely want to make this interactive. If you want to drop a +1 or some sort of comment in the chat about, if customer support is your #1 priority during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, maybe it's not. I always like to kind of gauge if this is a priority for you, and if it isn't, it definitely should be. So, anyone? Okay, well, we're going to keep moving, and hopefully people chime in as we kind of go throughout. But one of the main pillars of really having to drive revenue during this holiday season is going to be ultra personalized and fast support leads to revenue. We have tons of examples. We'll go through this a little bit more in depth. And here's an example of Nordstrom. I had a friend who recently purchased a sweater, and they had it for a few days, wore it a few times, and right away they responded about customer service, and we're like, "Can I call you right now?" Basically, they sent the exchange policy and made sure that they had an available order for them, and they did this within a couple minutes. So yeah, basically what he did is he texted a sales rep about an exchange. He came into the store and exchanged it and ended up spending more money. Oh, now I'm seeing all the plus ones come in, so that's super great. So everyone agrees that customer service is super important. Um, Making exceptional support the new normal. This is something we've pulled from our customers before they start using Gorgeous, is they actually have a 12-hour response time, which is pretty crazy if you think about the customer and put yourself in the customer's shoes. Waiting 12 hours for response, you might have already lost that sale. And I would say on across support levels, so the average support team is around a 2. 4 is exceptional. So it's really important to see that most brands actually fall across average support category 2, whereas Amazon, is a kingpin staple brand, has a response time of under 10 minutes. And I can definitely see how many sales are being driven for a company like Amazon. I do think a lot of it has to do with customer service, because people know that they can handle their customer service really easily through that, so they're going to continue buying. So 4 tips, let's get into it. 28% is the conversion rate on pre-sale chats or SMS replied to in less than 10 minutes. So responding quickly does drive incremental revenue. This can be from chat, from SMS, from any of your channels, showing that you can actually respond. If you can respond in a quick and efficient manner, you're more likely going to have a higher conversion rate. This is a case study we have from one of our brands called Brewmate. Out of all the tickets that they created, their first response time was actually 54 seconds. And their resolution time was 8 minutes and 15 seconds. So their first touch tickets were 28%. Now, when you look at the conversion ratio, you can actually see that the 13% from the tickets converted actually drove an additional $350,000 in sales, because we attribute a dollar amount to it. So you can actually see how telling your team to respond quickly and efficiently and appropriately staffing, which I'll get into in my next slide, is really imperative to the business. Definitely during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think the first response time might go up a little bit if you don't have the right staffing, but if you can hire additional support, you can make sure that you have the right rules in place from an automated standpoint. You should be able to still maintain that first response time and maybe even do better during that holiday period. So this is a good example to keep in mind. So staff appropriately and leverage automation. Hire Horatio is an amazing partner to do this. As you can see here, tickets, the ticket volumes during Black Friday, Cyber Monday increase steadily across holiday periods usually. And that's kind of what we've seen historically. And I'm sure you guys get a higher number of tickets because of all the sales that are going on for brands. So you can see that with the right staffing, you can actually maintain the same ticket volume. Now, if you had less users and less active agents, you most likely wouldn't be able to have the same threshold to manage all the tickets. So it's really important that you don't have a bottleneck between customer service agents and the number of tickets. 2, so build a feedback loop with product. There's a lot of pre-sale chats. So step 1 is understanding what your customers are asking. So what you can do here is you can converse with the customer, ask them what they're searching for, also making sure that you pull in their customer feedback. And sorry, Jose, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that something that we do here at Horatio as we prepare for the holiday season, particularly understanding that tickets are definitely going to increase, is make sure that we are having conversations with our brand clients in advance and understanding what their staffing needs are for the holiday season. Obviously, we can staff up seasonal additional help during the holidays, and it's very important to start sooner rather than later, because you obviously need to train the team and make sure that they understand how to use Gorgeous, how to understand the brand, And so, something that we are doing right now in October is getting ready to staff up for the holiday season up until January, and making sure that all of our teams are appropriately staffed for that uptick in demand. So obviously we leverage the gorgeous historical uh, facts to understand, what is the impact of the ad spend and how that is going to drive additional tickets over Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and going into the Christmas season as well. So very important for everyone to plan ahead for the holiday season and not let the tickets pile up, because obviously it gets harder to staff up and train the team when things are going crazy.
Yeah, and I would also add to that there's definitely lost sales opportunities. The quicker you can respond to your customers, the more likely they're going to build trust with you as a brand. So if you get back to them 3 days later or a day later because you don't have the right staffing, it's not really the best customer experience. And if you put yourself in the customer's shoes, how would you react as a customer? I always try to take it from that point of view, because we oftentimes are businesses and we don't really put ourselves in the customer's shoes and understand what puts us off and what actually is a good enjoyable customer experience. So putting thought to that and knowing, okay, what would keep your sale, and then what would make you be like, I'm never going to order from this person again, or is probably going to be really heavily related to your customer service team, who has a direct communication with them. Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know if you have yeah. But thanks for adding in. And then I think also like building a feedback loop with the product. So making sure that you have the right tags in place, the right metrics in place to understand how your customers are responding to your products. Maybe there's an opportunity to build a new product. A lot of times, I like to use this example. We had a candle brand that had a rose flavored scent, and we were able to tag a specific flavor after, which was lavender. And we kept tagging and seeing how many people were writing lavender, and saw a few other flavors that were kind of coming up, but lavender was the most prominent one. So they ended up releasing a lavender candle, which sold out. So I think, understanding the feedback also, and that's a great way to anticipate negative feedback before you lose customers. So if you can tag all your tickets, really have a standardized approach of, okay, is it refunds? Is it angry customers? That will really allow you to build a better business, because you can anticipate the negative feedback, understand where in your processes you can do better, whether it's returns, whether it's refunds, whether it's cancellations, so that you can start to build a narrative around your different customer demographics. This is an example of Olipop. So they launched orange cream based on a bunch of customer service feedback that people wanted a specific flavor. Sorry, this is not the orange claim, so that's a fraud image. But they were able to drive $63,000 in just like the first 30 minutes of launching the product, just because they were able to take in customer feedback and they texted everyone. So this is a good understanding of like how they took customer feedback and were able to launch additional sales. So I think during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you're going to get a lot of that feedback, and it's really important to have a good click-through rate. I think the click-through rate was like 70%, which is also phenomenal, which means people were really intrigued and were very curious. And then, yeah, moving to my next point. So engaging visitors and turning them into buyers. I think this goes back to talking about pre-sale chat. So oftentimes we spend so much money on ads trying to find your perfect customer, but really they're in your comments. They're writing to you on social media, more social media channels. They're in your chat, they're in your email. That is how you can turn your customers into buyers. If you can offer at the end of a customer service email, like, hey, we recommend you actually buy this, we're offering a 50% off sale, or buy one, get one. These are great ways you can engage with your customer. This is an example I like to use where, problematic boy comments on Ilia Beauty, I need to know what shade of eyeshadow is wearing. So if you respond here and respond to these types of comments, you might be able to drive sales. I've done it. I've asked, what that flavor or what that shade is, and have gone directly to the website when the brand responds to me, because it reaffirms that conscious belief that you actually want the product. And sometimes they forget about it, right? So making sure that you can continue to have as many touch points with the customer as possible. Browser sentiment. So this is something we have in Gorgeous, is making sure that you tag based on their tone. So if it's an angry customer, is it a positive customer? Is it a social lead like we see here? This seems like a social comment and social lead that we could turn into a converting customer. This is a great way to segment. So making sure you have these in place before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so that you can capture those comments like we just talked about, those negative comments to understand what you can do better, and those social questions so that you can respond and upsell those customers as well. I think it's super important to understand the sentiment. It's not a lot of platforms are able to understand sentiments, and we really strive to make sure that this is super important. I know the hire Horatio team uses this a lot as well, so making sure that they can segment appropriately across different comments. And here's an example of how, with chat campaigns, they were able to constantly experiment with new chat campaigns. So most of these convert between 10 and 20% is like running through different chat campaigns and engaging your customer, right? So Brew Tank is finally here and it's a party on wheels. Shoot us a message for any help. This is a great way to convert, is through chat, having different chats across different um, pages. So cart help, VIP page, making sure that you're constantly upselling them. That goes back to engaging your visitors before they convert on your website. So maybe it's recommending shoe size. So experimenting again with chat campaigns, making sure that you're still driving additional revenue, like you are here with this $60,000 for Brewmate. And I think we have a question. How would you say the sentiment helps brands to improve their customer experience? I think the sentiment feature is really important, because when you're thinking about your customer and you're not responding on socials, or maybe you're just on email or chat, you might be missing a huge amount of your customer base. Maybe your customers actually like to text. I hate getting on the phone. That's just me personally. I do think we're shifting more to this culture of chat, to SMS. Those are the fastest two growing channels in our ecosystem, and curious what the higher Horatio team is seeing, but that's what we're seeing at Gorgeous with the volume of tickets. So making sure that the sentiment, not only channels, but the sentiment analysis, maybe you have an angry customer that's commenting on Facebook. Now that can be directly associated to their email. So you can actually respond on Facebook, but also, or respond via email if you want to hide that negative comment, or you want to like that negative comment and be like, hey, we're getting back to you. I think if you can respond to those negative comments, they're almost more important than those positive comments, because someone who has a negative experience might be commenting, and then you can be like, I'm so sorry about that. Let me email you, because you'll be able to see their email and make up for that bad customer experience. Or let me call you if you have their customer phone number. So this is a great way for brands to really use the sentiment feature to their advantage, because you have power to actually control that customer who might not ever want to purchase from you again. But if you have the ability to chat with them, be like, hey, we're actually going to give you a free replacement or 80% off, you're going to build a positive brand affinity for that customer. So great question. And then here's another example. So chat campaigns for product selection. Again, hi, need help choosing the perfect lip shade. These are very common chat campaigns to converse with your customer. And then here's another chat campaign where they're asking for actual recommendations. And here they say, message me on their cell. So you can move from chat to SMS and across different channels. And then lastly, so make it easy for customers to self-serve. I think a good portion is making sure that you can automate those really easy, quick responses, such as, where is my order? And then I think usually it used to be web, or web self-service, but now phone is really steadily increasing as well. Phone was originally the most important one, and web has now been increasing. People like to be on chat, and so making it easy for them to self-serve, so that here we launched our own self-service where you can track an order, return an order, cancel an order. Again, this would be routed to a higher Horatio team member if that it was too complex or there were multiple asks. So not everything gets filtered through, but at least now you can kind of use that automation to respond quickly and efficiently and not have to spend too much time on those repetitive asks. And then lastly, so adding a QR code in product packaging to invite your customers to the help center, that's also really important, so they know who to talk to on your team, or if they need to reach out directly to your customer service team, is really important. So just to recap here, so 1 is responding quickly, 2 is creating a feedback loop, 3, engage with website visitors proactively, and then 4, make it easy to self-serve. I think are the most important components. And yeah, that's my email. Feel free to reach out if you after me. So a lot of good juicy information, and you should stay on.
Great. Thank you, Nicole, for that. And now we're going to pass it over to Eric at Attentive to talk a little bit about SMS and how we see some of our brand partners leverage Attentive as an amazing marketing and SMS channel.
Great, thanks. Happy to be here. I'm Eric Feuerstein, Director of Alliances at Attentive. I feel like we were just talking about holiday 2021, and now it's 2022. Everything's happening so fast. But I'll give you a quick background on Attentive, and then we'll get into some of the more salient parts of today's discussion. So we're the leading SMS marketing and conversational commerce platform around today. We've been doing this for years. We've been focused on SMS for years. It's our core competency. We've probably got about 1,600 or 1,700 people now on the team doing business here in the States and Canada and UK and Australia. We've invested a ton of capital into the product, over the last 6 or so years. And I think we're probably being used by in the neighborhood of 6,000 to 7,000 brands now, big and small. And we're driving what we would consider to be a not insignificant amount of their total online revenue. And I think a lot of people are very surprised by just how much revenue is attributed to what they're doing through the Attentive platform. So we're going to talk a little bit about conversational SMS. It gets thrown around all the time, and it has for years, but I want to try to make, a little bit of sense of this today, especially as we lead into the holiday season. What is it, right? So when we think of conversational, our thought is just as the words would imply. It's having like a true two-way dialogue with a customer leading to some sort of successful or meaningful outcome and customer experience. Really allowing a brand to speak with a customer instead of just at them, which is, I think, sort of traditionally how a lot of marketing has happened with this like spray and pray mentality where, you cast this really wide net out with a, sort of a one message to all, and it doesn't necessarily resonate anymore. So, how are we going to live in the feed of the customers live? How are we going to speak with them and not just at them? Why is it even a thing? So it's totally undeniable. Like, we have entered this age of conversational commerce where for us as customers, you, me, everyone, it's not enough anymore to get what we want when we want it, right? Like, we also now want real responses from people, right? So let's look at how some of our respondents in a survey we did ranked their expectations when communicating with brands today. And a lot of this probably won't be a shock. So top of the list, speed of response. I think Nicole sort of alluded to this earlier. Speed of response was the top ask. Like, the expectation is getting a reply in the same day from a brand. But honestly, like, same day isn't even really good enough, right? Like, if I'm in the heat of the moment and I want to buy something and I have questions or whatever, like I'm looking for a response quicker than same day. I think a lot of customers respond to things assuming that they're probably not even going to get a response, right? It goes to this black hole somewhere, and wherever like customer questions go to die, like that's where they go generally. So if a brand can respond quickly and even better than same day, that's certainly top of the list for asks from customers. Second was that they wanted the reply to be, from like a real person, and maybe not like just always a canned response that doesn't really answer their question. Third was to have it delivered in the most convenient way possible. Like, SMS, for instance, where it's always in my pocket. I'm always on my phone. It's always turned on. It's always connected. I don't have to like hop on my desktop computer or something like that. And then last but not least was, really to have the opportunity for a two-way conversation. So not to have like disjointed requests, right? And sort of canned replies, as I mentioned earlier. The great thing about SMS is it checks off like all of these boxes, right? And the message from customers is clear. In this day where, we're relying on our phones so much to stay in touch, brands are very much a part of this increase in two-way communication. So, customers, it's amazing. And customers are way more likely to be engaged with a brand if they've actually opted into your text messaging program. If you don't have a text messaging program, it's okay. It's not too late. But they're way more engaged there. And when we ask customers why interacting with brands over text positively impacts the whole shopping experience, overwhelmingly, their responses confirm this. From the responses that we generally see, personalization and ease of use emerged as sort of the key tenets that come up all the time, right? Because like SMS is really personal. It's like this really small circle of people that we let into our lives, like, my wife and my kids and my friends and those sorts of things. So when we let brands that we love into that close, tightly knit circle, what we're expecting in exchange for that is an elevated customer experience, right? I need to get something if I'm going to let you into this feed of my life, right? So whether that means, giving me like first access to some sort of awesome deal, or whether it means you're telling me like when my favorite brand has something really important to convey to me, like new product drops or those sorts of things, it's got to be like this give and get relationship where I give you as a brand access to me, right? To be able to communicate with me over the super personal channel. And what I'm going to get in return is I'm going to get like this way more personal and meaningful experience from you as a brand. And it's a huge opportunity because like, here's the crazy thing is, 70% of customers said that they would be extremely or very likely to interact with a brand over text messaging to receive customer support also. And another 24% said that they would consider it. Now, providing customer support, like what the Gorgeous folks do and Hire Horatio people do, providing that through SMS helps brands connect with customers on a way more personal level, right? And it's much faster than an email or a phone call or something like that. And with SMS, customer support reps can, quickly exchange whatever necessary info there may be with a customer, leading to way faster resolutions. Now, the idea of connecting back and forth for customer support on SMS is exploding. And that's why, the other folks on this call are such tight partners to us at Attentive. This is where SMS really can alleviate some of those pain points. The problem inherently is that despite, nearly 70% of customers saying that they want to get answers to their questions and customer service over SMS, only a fraction of them currently get that, right? That discrepancy between customer interest and actual use by brands today may just be the result of a lot of brands just not offering customer service within their texting programs, right? So hint, hint, like here's the big hint, I guess, kind of a no-brainer. Brands have the opportunity to tap into this huge pent-up demand and stand out by starting to offer customer service through their SMS texting programs, whether it's, using an Attentive where we integrate into Gorgeous or, some other scenario. This kind of, hyper personalization over text messaging drives huge growth, right? Not to mention repeat purchases. So nearly, it was like 80% of customers stated that it helped to enable them to discover new products and new deals. That's a total game changer, right? The number of people coming back for even like their third, fourth, fifth plus purchases also has significantly grown for many brands because they're leveraging like the power of SMS. So, the value around like conversational period, I mean, there's tremendous value, right? Especially with conversational SMS, because you're putting the customer at the center of that relationship, right? And you're driving incredible brand loyalty. Of course, SMS, allows brands to leverage like zero-party data and ensure like the right message is going to the right person at the right time about the right thing. Other huge benefits would really be the ability to remove barriers quickly that are keeping a customer from transacting, right? A lot of times customers, when they have questions, it's really the one thing that's keeping them from hitting the buy button. Like it could be something simple, right? But then it can also help take sort of the support and resolution times down from days, right, to minutes when used in conjunction with a support platform like Gorgeous. So I just want to talk real quickly about a couple different kinds of messages and how to use them kind of at a high level. First of all, we'll talk, about the idea that, through these kinds of messages, it's really about you as a brand striking up a conversation, helping your customers down that path to purchase with two-way messages, but also really using two-way messages to get back in touch with customers who maybe you haven't seen in a while. Maybe it's been a while since they've come to the site or bought something from you, like re-energizing dormant customer relationships, right, with two-way conversations. And then using two-way also to help customers navigate like your product catalog, right, and make purchase decisions with confidence. So the first kind of message I think we should just hit on, again, at a high level, would be things like two-way journeys and campaigns. So think of this as like the automated side of conversational SMS, right? The two-way journeys and campaigns. So this would refer to things like triggered and one-time messages that might maybe include keywords, right? Or numbers that maybe prompt a subscriber to reply. Like a great example, I think, if you're seeing it here in the animation, is, why not send a text message out to a customer asking them a question about something that they might be interested in? Are you interested in X, Y, or Z? Have them reply, and then take that reply and leverage that as a data point that you now have for that customer, so you can ensure going forward you're going to send them things relative to that they told you that they're interested in, right? So I like to think of this as kind of like maybe not the technical word for it, but I like to think of it as like the choose your own adventure experience for customers, right? And they can easily be leveraged to send subscribers like special offers and cool product recommendations and just relevant stuff, right, based on what they're telling you that they're interested in. As an added bonus, they're actually great, as I mentioned, for collecting super actionable data, like what are their product preferences? What's their gender? Do they have a desired message frequency? How often do they want to hear from you? Like these data points can be saved then and, used to build way more robust segmentation for future campaigns. So think of these two-way journeys and campaigns as a great way to get just actionable insight on your subscribers. The next thing I want to talk about is customer service. Like, who'd have thunk that we'd be at the day and age where you wouldn't have to call someone necessarily or email someone to get customer support, right? So how does customer service over texting even work? So Attentive could automatically answer like the most frequent questions, automated to save the CX team time. But brands can choose, right, between either automatically forwarding all messages to their customer support team or having shoppers confirm that they would actually like assistance, right? So the power is in the hands of the brands. By handling customer service questions over text, though, customers get to stay on one device, and that's huge. Like if I'm on a device, my mobile 75% of the time, I don't want to start like a support scenario there and then have to jump to my computer for something or have to jump to my phone for something else to dial a phone number. I don't want a disjointed experience, right? I get to stay on one device and I get to have those conversations in real time. And in turn, brands are building a huge amount of trust, right? Making it easier for their audience to take action and again, to enable that repeat purchase cycle. The crazy thing, and it's just staggering, is we found that there was 31% more spend so money, from subscribers who actually receive a reply versus those who don't. Is it really surprising? Probably not. Again, people assume that when they reply to a brand, as I mentioned earlier, it goes to that black box where questions go to die. So at the end of the day, like, if someone does respond to me, if a brand does respond to me quickly, that's a huge deal. It's a complete differentiator. And a major reason, I think, why using SMS for customer support can be super lucrative on top of just creating a fantastic customer experience. So we get asked all the time, like, what's the best strategy? Like, from a conversational perspective, is it like automated scenarios? Is it people powered? And honestly, the best programs we see from like our top customers of that 6,000 or 7,000, it's usually a mixture, right? There's not like a one route to success. So first, I would recommend thinking about evaluating your customer touch points and identifying if any of them could be improved with a little bit or a lot of bit of personalization, right? Maybe a lot of your browsing customers are looking for recommendations or have questions about products, but there's no easy way to get answers quickly, right? This is something that could easily be solved with conversational SMS. So in a case like that, an automated approach might work really well if products require like little consideration, right? But if they offer sort of a more complex product, then maybe using live agents would be a far better option, right? Because it's a more complex buying decision, right? As it allows for a little more discovery on the agent side, so the agent can provide the best recommendation, make sure the customer enjoys their purchase after they make the purchase, and of course reduce like the boomerang effect. We don't want the product to come back for a return or refund. Next, I would just kind of be always assessing if there's any roadblocks in the customer experience that are making customers feel frustrated, such as having to endure long wait times for support for simple questions like shipping times and those sorts of things. Conversational SMS can help alleviate some of the burden from support teams, right? While also providing a way more seamless and enjoyable experience for the customer. In these situations, I recommend, I think, the people-powered approach, right? Because especially when it comes to high-value audiences, like if it's maybe VIP purchasers or high-intent subscribers, you could use live agents to target those kinds of groups, right? To provide like a super premium experience that keeps them always engaged, right? And certainly improve conversion rates. So I just want to leave you with a couple action items. I mean, SMS, this is a very abbreviated course of what could be a very long discussion around SMS. But, first off, think about the where, the why, and the how, right? So from a where perspective, like, where is the opportunity? Is there a specific area where a conversation can help remove a barrier to purchase, or maybe get you the ability to collect really valuable personal data, like, preferences, those sorts of things from a subscriber? Is it right when they sign up for your SMS program? Maybe, right? Maybe it's near the bottom of the funnel, right? Like when they abandon a shopping cart. And then think about why. Like, I think the why will always help you identify if you should use an automated approach, a people-powered approach, or a combination. Like, do you want to remove barriers to purchase through a one-to-one conversation, right? Or building, interest in collecting like actionable zero-party data to optimize additional touch points. And then the how is like, how do you want to initiate these conversations in the first place, right? Are you going to use campaigns like one-to-many? Or are you going to use journeys? Which campaigns? Which journeys? Should the conversation be triggered by some sort of behavioral trigger? Subscriber education is really the core of this. So just at the end of the day, if you make sure that your customers realize that your program, your SMS program, is conversational and it's not just a one-off message, it'll increase the frequency, value, and likelihood of, you know, conversion and the conversations that you have with those customers. So we see the best results typically with like 3 or more subscriber touch points being conversational. The second action item, and then we'll close it out, is just understand what topics your visitors are most interested in and what information they might be looking for. Just for some inspiration, here's something that a lot of people, I think they forget to do or they don't think of. Reach out to your support team, right? Ask them, what are the inquiries that you're hearing all the time? What are the things that you see most frequently? And how do you normally respond to that? Look through your product descriptions, right? Your on-site FAQs, because a ton of pre-purchase questions, the answers already exist, right? But due to like a shopper's short attention span, which I'm guilty of, a lot of us are guilty of, they may not have found that right content on the site. And then lastly, we always talk about customer centricity, and you guys all do this, I'm sure, but always putting yourself in the shopper's shoes, right? Like, what questions do you have when you browse the products on your site? If you've got a question, lots of people probably have that exact same question, right? And that's really it. So, you know, what I would urge you to do is, like, if you want to have a conversation after this, hit me up on LinkedIn. Feel free to shoot me an email to my email address here. You know, we're always happy to offer a free month trial on Attentive to prove it out for any new brand. But again, if you have questions or you just want to talk about SMS or conversational overall, just hit me up. I love connecting with brands and do it all the time. So happy to share anything I can with you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric, for that insight. And Nicole as well. I think we're right on time. So what I wanted to stress to everyone, and I think that's something that you both highlighted a lot during your conversations, is the importance of the pre-sale communication with the customers, making sure that you anticipate what your customers need and want, gathering the data that is required to be able to answer those questions. So something that we leverage a lot here at Horatio with our teams is making sure that we have all of that information in advance, understanding what types of products and services our clients are looking for. What, for example, if I'm looking for a sweater, what is that particular color? Like, having all those preset answers documented in the systems so that we can quickly answer the customer's questions and keep that first response time in check. We all discussed the importance of having a first response time under a minute. I would say that for text message, it's definitely less than a minute. So making sure that you're appropriately staffed to answer those questions, leveraging the automation tools within Attentive and within Gorgeous, and empowering your team to really engage with your customers in advance, and also making sure that that post-purchase experience is very smooth. And we all know that during the holiday season, there's a lot that the brands cannot control, particularly when it comes to logistics and shipping times. So also being proactive with your customers and letting them know, hey, this is our cutoff for when you can get your order by Christmas time or by whatever holiday you're looking for. So making sure that you are proactively communicating those shipping times, having that in line with your marketing team, and making sure your marketing team is also posting that on social media. That will really keep your customer experience in check, and obviously make a huge impact on your bottom line at the end of the day. So again, I think the conversation was great. Thank you so much again, Nicole and Eric. You guys know where to find them. If you don't have their information, feel free to hit them up on LinkedIn or reach out to myself or my team, and we'll be happy to connect you with them. But I think that as everyone and all of our clients get ready for the holiday season, it's super important to make sure that you have the right tech stack and the right team in place to make this a very smooth season. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. This will be recorded, so we'll be sharing that after this video finishes.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.